Okay, I'm just gonna hope this has me in frame. Hi, welcome back to the Surface 6 YouTube channel. I'm outside today, which was a somewhat impulsive decision that I made for reasons I still don't know, and it's quite rainy and windy, so apologies for that. The sound might be a little bad, but I thought today would be a great time to talk about, out in the natural world, one of the least grass-touching things existing in the current global environment, which is AI. Now, I don't like AI. What a shock, because it is just a pastiche of everything that everyone puts into it. And I don't like how it's been taking artists' work and using it without their consent. But at the same time, you might be thinking, owner of the Surface 6 YouTube channel, you use AI in your videos. For example, in some of my videos I've used AI to tell me how long to put things in the oven for. And if you know, the original Surface 6 channel started as an experiment that I was doing to see how people would interact with AI generated content. I would use it to create these like AI videos themed around, actually wait, okay, yeah, this is filming. I would use CapCut's AI to film. I would use CapCut's AI to create these like videos, automatically generated videos about Melbourne's train lines, and they would just clickbait. And I wanted to see how the internet would interact with that, how retention would interact with that, how maybe it would do well, maybe it wouldn't do well. I wanted to see how AI slop, which it was, behaved on the internet. And after that experiment ended, I felt too bad about making that type of content, because realistically, that content is having an environmental impact, and I was against that. So I took it down and I replaced it with videos that I actually enjoy making and that actually matter to me. And this is one of them. So, like, in the current global environment, I think AI is one of the most divisive things existing on the internet. There's people on the internet who are pro-AI, like solidly pro-AI. And to that I say, babes, Elon Musk does not care about you. OpenAI does not care about you. They just want to use your data to make money. They are not going to save the world. And your repentance to them is not going to solve anything for you. On the other hand, there's some people who I can actually really sympathize with, who are completely against AI and who wouldn't want to interact with someone who did use AI. And I can respect that. People like artists are having their profession, their passion threatened by artificial intelligence. And I can definitely understand that. At the same time, I always strive to be someone who has the least possible impact or negative impact on the world as possible. And thus, I participate in things like boycotts, but yet I haven't boycotted AI. I still use AI. Not for things like academics, but I still do use it in my daily life. And do I feel a little bad about that? Yes, I do. But I was talking to one of my friends recently, and they brought up this point about cognitive dissonance. i.e., letting two contradictory statements exist as truth in your mind at the same time. And ultimately, that seems like it's probably the best approach for this, at least in my opinion, in my position. Realistically, AI is part of the next global phase of technology, and my use of it is kind of almost a necessity. And I hate saying that because you can definitely get by without using AI, but it is where the world is progressing in terms of technology. And I think that if AI has the capacity to contribute positively to the way I interact with the world and contribute positively to things I put out, then that is a positive use of AI. I think that instead of being anti all AI, we should be more pro ethical AI. And I know that the majority of people who are anti AI are in reality just anti unethical AI, but realistically, AI is going to continue, and there's not much we can do about it. Our society is becoming increasingly technocratic, and that's just something that I have had to learn to accept, and a lot of people have had to learn to accept. I hate how the way that in the United States there are the leaders of the country are people who have billions of dollars from technology and who are actively stealing people like artists and writers' work to make generative AI. But I'm almost resigned to it, as are a lot of other progressive voices. I do feel like there's increased resistance to it lately, but after the US election result in 2024, I feel like a lot of people have a lot of progressive people have sort of given up on trying to foster that change that we were all waiting for, that we've all been looking forward to. And with prior movements, we all sort of felt like there would be an ultimate progressive goal, an ultimate societal reform where society would shift towards being a more progressive and accepting society. And after 2024 US election, that didn't happen. So I feel like a lot of us have just sort of given up. I am not American, but it's undeniable the impact that American politics have in the world. And yeah. There's a lot of things that I, as a consumer in a capitalist country, still participate in, even though they are unethical. And we should all work towards having more ethical lives, having less footprint, having less of a negative footprint on the world. But at the same time, you do need to have a bit of cognitive dissonance to get you through the day. It is so pressure. It is so pressuring to feel like you have to constantly watch what you consume or you are doing something unethical. And I can definitely empathize with people who don't participate in boycotts as well, because of how difficult it is in the modern day capitalistic society, which has little room for morals, which has little room for ethics. I understand how difficult it is to keep being a moral and ethical person and making ethical decisions in that circumstance. I watched the 2018 Netflix show Holly Hobby, which was before generative AI, and I definitely think that if it existed today, generative AI would be a topic in Holly Hobby, because they discuss ethical things. And I definitely do recommend watching that show. I know it's a kids show, and I know I'm almost 16 and shouldn't be watching kids shows anymore, but I just need some like progressive change from young people in my life, and I think we all do need that. The young leaders of the future, we are the young leaders of the future, assuming that you are also of a relatively similar age as me. We are the young leaders of the future, and if we are a positive, progressive voice, then we can go a long way in building a better society for tomorrow. I sound a little political. That's not really where I wanted to go. But ultimately, our society has an empathy shortage. And I just feel the best thing that we can do as people is be a little less cut and dry, see the nuance in things, and have empathy for other people. And that's the most important thing we can do as members of society. So that's my opinion. Feel free to voice yours in the comments. Bye.